You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You are watching the Talking Heads program. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am so excited to have you here as we have launched our new platform, which is all about presentations. So if you were looking for an interview show, that's not this program. This program is experts from around the world who come to educate us, to entertain us, and to inspire us. Each of our guest presenters will have 15 minutes to share some wisdom with us, their expertise to help make us better personally and or professionally. Let's welcome our guests for today. Joining us, Sarah Grant and Maria Fuentes. Hello.
Hello, lovely to see you.
Hi, nice to see both of you. You're both joining us from the UK, is that correct?
That's right.
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. And you haven't met each other before, have you?
No, we have not had the pleasure, however.
Where are you, Maria?
I'm in London. What about you, Sarah?
I'm in Sevenoaks in Kent.
Okay, yeah.
They're not far.
No, we're not. I usually drive past quite often, so yes.
Well, I hope that you two connect after the show because you're both wonderful women who are real dynamos and really making a change in the world. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here today. I just want to let our audience know what to expect, and then we'll get started, okay?
Great.
Fantastic. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, this is a presentation platform called the Talking Heads. Each one of you will have 15 minutes or so to present something, a lesson, some experience, knowledge, expertise that you have to help make us better personally or professionally. Sarah has offered to go first, which is tremendous. So what will happen is we will spotlight Sarah. Maria and I will go backstage and we will be watching and listening and taking notes. And then when you're finished, Sarah, we'll pop back on and we'll have a conversation about what we learned from your lesson. We'll go to a quick commercial break, and then Maria will do her lesson. And then Sarah, you and I will pop back on and have a conversation about Maria's presentation. How does that sound?
Perfect. Lovely. Thank you.
Wonderful. Maria, good for you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So before we do that, I'm going to spotlight each of you. And what I'd like you to share with us, what is the field of work in which you are an expert, and what will you be sharing with us today? So I'm going to start with Sarah.
So, hi everybody. I'm Sarah Grant. I'm an image consultant and an NLP practitioner. So I have been living my passion for must be about 14 years now. But usually what happens is when people come to me, they say, Sarah, what do I start with first? You know, is it style? Is it color? You know, what is it? And I'll always say to people, what do you see when you wake up in the morning? Is color. So it's like when you go into a shop, the first thing you see is color, because for me, color affects us in just so many different ways. It makes us how it makes us feel. So now I'm going to be talking a little bit about color and demonstrating. But yes, I mean, excuse me, I'm passionate about helping and empowering women because, you know, especially women in midlife, because, you know, we've either gone through menopause. I wrote mine through mine a long time ago, and your body is changing. So many things are changing in our lives. And, you know, they say we've had our children, our work's done. Well, I'm sorry, but it's not. I mean, I'm 63 and I love life. But I got into image consultancy when I was, 15 years ago, through a husband leaving me. But I knew that as soon as I put my clothes on, my makeup, my hair, how much better I felt. And so what I'm going to do is try this. I'm not going to take you all the way through it because it takes too long. But often when I'm doing talks, and people are often scared about colour, I will always get them to do a visualization. So you have to close your eyes. So I'm only going to do a snippets of it because it'll take too long. You close your eyes and you visualize 2 wardrobes in front of you. And I get you to open the one on the left. And on the left-hand one, you open it. It's this really dark, dismal day. It's thunder, it's lightning, the clouds. The air is really, really oppressive. You know, you're feeling horrible. You're dressed in black because you don't want to go outside. You don't want to go and do your running that you may have done. It's muddy. You know, the birds aren't singing. It just makes you feel yuck. You just don't want to do anything. It's just, the rain, you know, you just want to curl up in a ball. I'm sure you can all imagine what it's like when it's that horrible day and you just cold, shivering and horrible. So that just gives you a little bit of a taster of that wardrobe and how it makes you feel inside that dark, dismal wardrobe. And then I get them to close that door and then open the wardrobe on your right. And in that wardrobe is that lovely blue sky. And it's got those lovely white fluffy clouds. The birds are singing. You've got the aeroplane going across the sky and you're thinking, wonder where it's going. Some wonderful faraway place. I'll come to America. And then, you know, you've got the smells. The other thing is the smell of the plants, but it's the colour. It's that colour and those beautiful, vibrant colours that are coming in. You're visualising sitting in the garden with your friends. You're having that lovely glass of wine. You're relaxed. You've got the sun on your skin. So it's that sort of scenario. And then I get you to close that door. Then I'll say to people, what wardrobe do you want to be in? And 99.9% of the time, people will say the one with the colour in it because of how it makes them feel, because I've given them those emotions, not just with the colour, but the warmth on their skin, all that sort of thing. But I did have one lady, and she said to me, oh, I'd go in the black wardrobe. So I said, why is that? She said, because I want to hide. But my question to her was that you have pink hair. So that was really strange because I'd love to have got into psychology. We were in a networking group, so I couldn't really there. But it was interesting is that she wanted to hide in black because the clothes, but she had this pink hair. So it was really, really interesting. So yes, you've got to think about the colour because colour for me is so important. So, you know, when a client comes, I say, when you go shopping, the first thing you do when you go in that shop is you see the colour. So I know for me that if I go into a shop, unless I'm wanting black trousers in the bottom half, but supposing it's jumpers, coats, scarves, all that sort of thing, I will look at the colours first. And if I can see some of my best colours, then I'll go in because I'll go in anyway and scan it. And then if I can't see them, obviously I walk out. But if I can, then I will go up to that item of clothing. I'll look at the style, the shape of it. I always look at necklines because I've got boobs. I need a lower neckline. Unless it's a loose, baggier top, I will never go any higher than this neckline. Otherwise, I look all boobs, and I don't want that. And then, so yes, I'll look at the personality of it, and then I'll try it on. And I think you've got a TK Maxx we have in America. So lots of people say, I hate TK Maxx. I love it because I was in there the other day and my eyes literally scan all the way around and I just pick up whatever I need. So when you know that your best colours for you, it makes it easier for shopping. But more than anything, it's about how it makes us feel. It's about the mood that it gives us. So I know if anyone said to me, you have got to wear a black dress, Sarah, I'd hate it. But If I had to wear a black dress, I would always then most probably make sure it's got the low neckline because of my bust. If you had a smaller bust, you'd most probably go for a higher neckline, but then you'd infill with jewellery. So yes, I'd wear a lower neckline, I'd put some fake tan on, and I'd most probably put a lot more makeup on, maybe not a heavier foundation, because foundations, you should never see a line around here. So I'd put that on, and then I'd infill with gold jewellery so that the gold is reflecting upon my face and not the black. So what I am going to show you is I bought some drapes here with me just to demonstrate. So if I put that, what do we see first? We see the black. It doesn't complement me. But when I put navy, see how much kinder it is to my face. It's more in unison, it's evening out me out more. Whereas when I do that, and it makes a dark shadow under my chin, whereas when I do that, it makes it lighter. I don't feel like I look so old. I don't look like a ghost. Whereas that makes me look like a ghost. I know some people might disagree. And I always say to clients, they may come to me and they say, Sarah, but I might suggest they don't wear black. But if they love it, then wear it. Because again, it's always about the way it makes you feel. So if you feel really good in it, wear it. And someone asked me years ago, Sarah, am I best? Supposing I've got a dress, it's my perfect colour, but the most dreadful shape on me. But I've got a dress that's the perfect shape, but not my perfect colour. What would I go for? And I'd most probably say the shape, because it would depend on the neckline, because you could recoup it with heavier makeup and you could recoup it with some jewellery. So it would all depend. I mean, you'd have to try those on. I always say to people, if you don't love something, you're not going to wear it. It's like when people go into their wardrobes, they'll look and they'll bring it out and then it goes back again. Well, that's because you don't love it. So there really is no point in buying something that you really don't love. But again, when you're not just does it save you time and money when you're shopping, it makes you look younger, more youthful. And we all know that we want to look younger and more youthful. We don't want to start looking old and decrepit or anything. So it really does make a massive difference. And I am going to show you another drape here. Now, this one is deep and muted and warm. So that's there. It's not horrendous. But when I put this on, see the difference? It's much kinder. It complements me. And obviously I have got a peachy colour lipstick on as well. It's not awful, but that looks so much nicer. So yes, it saves you lots of time. And I always say to people, most people only wear 80% of their wardrobe. I mean, 20% of their wardrobe, sorry, 20%. The other 80% is either got labels on, it's sitting there for various reasons. And some people could either have hundreds of pounds worth of clothes sitting there, or they could have thousands of pounds. You just think that could be a night away. It could be a weekend away. It could be a week away somewhere really lovely and beautiful. So always be mindful when you're shopping about your colours. So that's why I always say to people, start with a colour analysis first and then go on to the style. But again, colour isn't just about our clothes. It's about our living, our house that we live in. I know in my living room, some of my old life was in there and I didn't like going in there. There was parts of it I didn't like, and it was the colour. my sofa I changed anyway. So I took the curtains down. I bought those lovely creams, those lovely greens and those peachy colours. And I completely changed that room around. And now I love going in there because it's the way it makes me feel. And it's like when you go into shops, you know, some shops will make you feel good and others don't. And it's not always just about the colour, it'll be about the smells and that they give off. So it's always being really mindful of that. And when I work with clients, I know lots of people do spring, summer, autumn, winter. But when I was taught, and I'm going to show you this board, is helping clients choose between, are they deep or light? So are they better in deep or light? And when we do that, we add white to a colour to make it lighter. So I know I'm better in lighter colours or midway. And then we do the undertone. Now the undertone is one, I think, of the most important. Are you warm or cool? So when you've got cool colours, you have got lots of blue added to it. And then in the warm, you've got yellow. So it's giving you an idea on that. And then we've got the clarity of the colour. So the clarity is the brightness of it. So that's finding if you're bright or muted. And lots of people don't like that word muted, but all that happens in a bright colour is that you start adding grey and then it mutes down the colour. So for me, I need light, warm colours. So as long as they're light, if it was like a light blue, which is light and cool, I could wear it because it's primarily light. But if it was a deep colour, then absolutely not. So I'm just showing you the greens as well. So that's how I try and help people decide. But I do sort of know the other way as well. But I'm going to show you here also, I do a lot of voluntary work with Look Good, Feel Better, which is the makeup side. And I know it started off in America and we have it here in England. And I'm now going to be working as one of their body confidence volunteers, which I'm really, really looking forward to. So I'm going to show you this lady here. So all these, oh, Jesus Christ, what happened there?
Hi, Sarah. Is everything okay?
I got cut off there.
We could still see you and hear you. So go ahead. I'll let you. That's okay. I'll let you continue.
Sorry. But yes, this lady, this was a calendar I produced in 2017. I think I showed you Jacalyn before. So this lady shows us wearing black. Now this lady actually can wear black. But look what happens to her when she wears colour and she wears makeup, because makeup is so vitally important, because that really does help us. And again, it's the colour of your lipsticks. So just giving you an idea. So again, this lady here, whoops, sorry ladies. So see how you can see the black is wearing her and making her look very drab and not uplifted. I know they're not smiling either. But then when I move it along here, see the difference when she's wearing some of her best colours. They're lighter, they're cooler colours. It has a massive, massive impact. It's trying to get this to go the right way. And also, I'm going to show you this lady. We nicknamed her Raquel Welch, because when you look at this, I think she looks I mean, she's beautiful anyway, but absolutely stunning in that. So I'm just giving you a few ideas. I don't know quite how I've left long to present here, but it's just giving you a few ideas how colour can completely change us. For me, it is vitally, vitally important, and it's about our well-being as well. We know certain colours make us feel happier, just by looking at them. You know, it could be like, even you look in the flowers in your garden and how vibrant and lovely and how they make us feel. And, you know, if I always say to people, if you're scared of colour, just get a scarf that's just got some colours in it. Even if they're not your perfect colours, just get used to wearing some colour and see how it makes you feel. I mean, ideally, if you had your colours analysed, it would be so much better, because then you get the true colours that are making you feel great. So I hope that's given you a little bit of insight about why choose colour over black. I'm not saying you can't wear black, but when you wear colour and how wonderful it makes us feel. So I hope that has been useful to you all. And I'm not sure if I was running out of time or what I was doing.
Well done. That was perfect. Really good. I love how you use the visuals to really hone in the point. So when you held up the black, I thought, oh, that's not a great color. But the fact that you had all those different, what do they call, drapes, you said?
Drapes, yes, just brought a few in just to demonstrate. Black.
That makes a big difference. Yes, I could see how your face was warming up or how it was not the most flattering. And then I also love the idea of the closet, the 2 closets, and which one would you rather go in? Because I typically wear a lot of black. And I think the reason I wear a lot of black is because I'm lazy. Because if it's black, I go in the closet and I see all these black things, and I go, I'll just pick one of those black things. But when you wear color, you actually have to show up. I feel like, you know, you have to, I don't know, there's, and Maria and I are both in red today, which is interesting. But Maria, what's some of the takeaways that you had for Sarah?
You know, I was surprised. I think when you started to put all the different materials, and it was shocking when you put the black and then the blue, and how you were saying about your neck, it just became so dark. It was shocking.
And shadows.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right about colors and how it changes our mood. I'm going to be presenting in a minute about anxiety and how that can actually affect us. And you are very right. It's very different when you are wearing a vibrant color to when you're wearing something that is very dull. It almost reflects how you're feeling inside, isn't it? It affects outwards and inwards, both ways.
The psychology of color. I mean, I only do a snippet of it. Is amazing. I just love it, and that's why.
You know, I'm going to ask you. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I'm going to ask you a question while we're in air with people watching. So this is a new background, the black with the yellow, and it's new as of yesterday, actually. And so I was trying to decide, because I had a show right before this, and I had a very different background, which I'll share that. I'll show you what the background was and why I picked what I'm wearing, because I'm interested in your professional opinion. So this was the background that I had for the last show. And so I put on the red dress, and then I don't really think I like the red dress for this. So I'm wondering, if you have a black background with yellow, what's a good color to wear?
Are you going to keep a black background?
Yes. We have different backgrounds. So we have this one, but it's too busy. So I need something where I could walk around, and I'm not going to be, but our colors are black and yellow.
Okay, I mean, red does go, but I mean, you could, because they're quite strong colours, so they're deep and they're bright. I mean, obviously, I don't know what colour's your best, but the red looks good on you, but maybe go for the blues and the more emerald greens that you could bring in, because if you bought something very pale and wishy-washy against the black and the yellow, it's going to, it's not going to contrast so well.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Or as long as it's a fairly strongish colour, I think, to go with that. As to for you personally, I can't tell because you're too far away.
We have a comment from, I hope I say your name right, Tarak. Is it Tarak Garbouge? Anybody else want to try that name?
No, I'm dyslexic, so it's no good asking me.
I think you did well.
All right, thank you.
That make me look thinner, packed, distinguished, seductive.
Seductive. How about that? That's a great comment.
Does black make me look thinner? Well, obviously, and I always say to people, your eye is drawn to the lightest and the brightest color. So anything that's darker is going to recess back. So it will, but if for men, you don't have to wear black as long as you are wearing your right colors and you know how to dress properly. It's not just about the colors with a man dressing or anybody dressing. If somebody has got like a larger midriff and you've got a double-breasted jacket with the buttons, that is going to draw attention and make you look bigger. Whereas if you had a jacket that's very streamlined and just a few buttons down, your eye is going to be drawn down. So yes, black does take it back, but you can look slimmer by the way you dress, not just the colours. So you just go for a deep navy. If you feel like black, but it's not quite right, go for dark navy. So I hope that's given a little bit seductive. Well, seductive. Oh gosh, about being sexy, that's all in the mind. That's not about the clothes.
That's another show for another day, right?
Another day. Great somebody that will talk to you about that.
So, Sarah, I have another question for you, and then we're going to go on to Maria for her presentation. And I think it's actually so cool. This keeps happening over and over again on these shows where people who don't know each other come together and their topics really have mesh. There's an intersection between the topics. So I love that. So here's my question for you, Sarah. And then Maria, I want you to weigh in terms of being an anxiety expert. Many of us during the pandemic have put on some weight. And I'm seeing people I haven't seen in a long time. And, you know, I'm on the 75 hard. I'm very conscientious about where my fat is and where I have to lose it. So when you have a few extra pounds, this is what I'm seeing lately. And this is what I want to discuss with you. I'm noticing people are wearing very form-fitting clothes around the waistline, like sweaters that are tight. Men with sweaters here look sort of like, I don't understand. This doesn't seem like a great look. Now, if you're going to wear a sweater and you have some extra weight, would an undershirt help? I don't know what you call it there in the UK, but what are your thoughts? I mean, I have more anxiety knowing that my fat is being highlighted. So I'm going to start with Sarah from the.
Well, it's funny because I did a post on Facebook yesterday about this because I like to say your muffin. It depends where the fat is being stored. If it's at the front, if it's at the sides, you know, it will vary. But yesterday I did a post. So I had a beautiful blouse from Zara, and I'd got it with trousers. And when you tuck your shirt in, you know, we often get that roll of fat, depending obviously if it's a tight fitting or not. But what you can do is tuck your shirt in, put your arms up, so that it starts coming out, and then ruche it over, put your belt on and ruche your blouse over the top of your trousers, because that will help disguise your muffin, your weight. Or you need to wear trousers that are higher in the waist if you've got that muffin. I've got a muffin and it depends what I'm wearing. If I'm wearing high trousers, I can wear something a bit more fitted, because it's taking that muffin in, because I have got a bit of a waist and I haven't got a tummy that sticks out. So if your tummy's protruding more, then you need a looser fitting top. You need to do it looser. Don't go and wear those Spanx things because they're just so uncomfortable. Lose the weight instead. So it sounds
like we could have a bake-off. It sounds like we could have a bake-off with all the muffins that are going around. So, Maria, I want to ask you to weigh in terms of, you know, people carrying around some extra weight and there's a lot of anxiety. You think, how am I going to get the weight off? I don't have the time. So what do you do when you have that perception of yourself, but you know that it's actually true that you have extra weight you have to lose? How do you deal with the anxiety of that?
I don't get anxiety on that. And I think that's the difficulty. I think I have helped many people years ago when I started helping people to control, you know, the weight and the way of eating. And I was very surprised because Maria was always very happy how she was. And I was very surprised how eager people was to change. I think, you know, it is what it is. When we have been in the pandemic, people have to cope with enormous anxieties and worries. And loneliness, and one of the ways that people tend to really deal with that is food. I'm afraid food it has some occasions is used as love, not the base way, but that's what it is. I'm afraid, and I'm sure that now that things are opening, everybody will be trying to lose that and run around and feel better.
Thank you so much. Well, this is definitely fun. Sarah, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm going to take us to commercial break. When we come back, Maria, we will watch your presentation. And Sarah, can you stay around to watch?
I can. I will have to I've got family in the garden. I said, you cannot come in. So I might have to bring them in so they can just cook their dinner while I'm chatting. So
that sounds great. Okay, we're going to go to commercial. Stay with us. We're going to watch Listening to Smile about mindfulness-based music, frequency-based music, and then we'll be right back with Maria's presentation. Stay with us here on Talking Heads.
Thank you.
The music, services, and programs that we offer at Listening to Smile are based off of scientific studies and research, along with our own personal experiences and testimonials from our clients and our affiliates that we work with worldwide. My own personal journey began in around 2010, and I tried to find relief from a chronic illness that I was diagnosed with. And the traditional ways of healing, they tried to fit me in this box, and that didn't work for me for so many reasons. And this led me to a self-discovery that I never expected to be so life-changing. Healing is multifaceted. It requires us to really look at our whole selves and to get really honest about what we see. I started to see movement towards recovery when I started to integrate yoga into my life daily. When I started to incorporate the music into all aspects of my life, including my yoga practice, my healing completely accelerated, and listening to Smile's music helped me to open my consciousness. I was able to open my eyes to new perspectives and make changes that I needed to make in order to recover. The most noticeable difference that I saw right away, like immediately after listening to my first frequency track, was how much my anxiety completely stopped. There was such a relief. My mind was actually quiet for the first time in so many years. I felt safe. I felt this comfort and this peace immediately. I continued to listen daily, and I found that amazing things were happening inside of me. I felt calmer. I felt happier. I felt like I was in this little bubble of peace. Physically, I started to see the changes happening. I started to see the things happening in my body that needed to happen for me to heal from my illness. I felt empowered. I felt hopeful, and something that I hadn't felt in years. This is why we at Listening to Smile integrate yoga and Listening to Smile music together. We see such a huge benefit from integrating the music into other modalities of healing. It accelerates these modalities, it steps them up to another level because it works on the brainwave states and the neural pathways in the brain. This is something that is not very easy for us to do alone at home, but the Listening to Smile music makes that possible. This is where real change happens. This is where the body and the mind sync up and work towards health of the being as a whole. That is true health, and Listening to Smile frequency music will get you there.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You are watching Talking Heads. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our presenters today are Maria Fuentes, anxiety expert, and Sarah Grant, image consultant. In our first segment, Sarah really wowed us with some amazing information about color, the power of color, why we choose it, why we don't, and some perspectives that we need to consider when we think about our closet. And when we look in there, we're either afraid, we don't like what we see, or else we look in there, we're like, oh yes, I can. And it really reflects how we're feeling about ourselves and how we show up and how we present ourselves to others. So thank you, Sarah. We'll look forward to some more lessons. I know you've got plenty of content to come. So thank you. All right, Maria, we are going over to you. Sarah and I are going to go backstage, and I will spotlight you now. Please start with sharing with us a little bit about your background and then the topic for your lesson, and go ahead and dive right into it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So my background was one is finance. I was a financial advisor, very successful for quite a few years. And with that comes stress, isn't it? Somehow life really pushes you to a different direction. And that's how I started to become interested in the themes of stress, anxiety, panic attacks, lack of confidence. So that was over a decade ago, and I changed profession. This was really rewarding, and I was fascinated because we could change people's lives very fast. And that is what made me change completely. It's a position and a job that push you to better yourself every day, to be able to help others, and it's a great satisfaction to do that, you know. So that's how I started. So let me now tell you a tiny bit about what I tend to do. What I tend to do with my clients when they come is to help them to beat the anxiety, to build their confidence, and stop panic attacks and sometimes post-traumatic stress disorder very quickly. They have been suffering for a long time. They have tried very many methods, and they have found themselves stuck in a repetitive behavior. So the aim of this presentation today is to give you an insight of why that happens and why it's so difficult to break free from it. So there's going to be 4 pointers in this presentation. One is I want you to understand the difference between stress, anxiety, panic attacks, and depression, and how that actually starts moving very easily from one side to the other. We're going to then go a bit deeper to understand how our belief systems are creating our anxiety, and how that anxiety is all the time limiting how you can succeed in life in whatever area you want. Finally, what I'm going to do is to give you a couple of exercises that are going to help you to be able to take control and start getting, a bit better, feeling a bit better. So let's go for that. What is stress? Stress is usually focused mainly on external pressures. It's that type of stress you feel when, my goodness, I'm not reaching to the children, to pick them up at school, or oh my goodness, I am running late to work, or I have so much deadlines that I need to complete and I'm not getting there. The good thing about stress is that typically disappears after the stressful situation is over. However, as you know, and I know, nowadays we have so many deadlines all the time. Life is very busy. And sometimes that stress can just become a routine and part of our lives on a constant basis. That starts deteriorating our well-being and our health. And sometimes it starts mixing with anxiety. It's that feeling that sometimes we just don't know why we feel anxiety. Other times we do know, because we are able to understand that we are running our minds worries and fears about things that could be threatening to our well-being or how it's going to be our life. And they are not immediate. Sometimes they don't even happen, but it's constantly there. When we are in a lot of stress for a long time, sometimes what it tends to happen is that we start doubting our abilities to manage it, and that mixes straight away with anxiety. And guess what? When anxiety becomes very extreme, we end up having panic attacks, and we do less things. The good things that are really making us happy, they start taking a backstage, and then it leads to depression. Yeah. So it's very easy to go from just simple stress to full-on depression when so many things are bombarding you. So I think it's very important as well to understand a tiny bit about how a panic attack happens and why, if you have suffered with a panic attack, you may feel out of control. And when you are suffering a panic attack, this horrendous feeling of feeling that you're going to die, that you cannot breathe, yeah, that you are trembling, sweating, your legs going, is activated by your amygdala. Exactly the same as it does with stress and with anxiety. Yeah, it's there trying to protect you, it's searching for danger, but there is a part of the amygdala, there is a nucleus that stores memories that are subconscious. You do not remember them consciously. And when that happens, it overreacts and gives you this horrendous panic attack. I thought it was important to explain this to you, because if you are one of those sufferers, you will think, how am I going to control this? Why I find it so difficult to control it? And I'm going to explain to you why and how you can get control. Well, let's go through these anxiety and panic attacks and these subconscious beliefs. Sometimes you will think, well, I'm not good enough. How am I going to go to that job? Or what if I go into that lift and it stops? And that fear starts rising. Yeah, it's the what if that is all the time playing in your mind. Now, most of the what ifs are based on that lack of confidence, the lack of confidence of not being able to manage what's going to happen in our lives. If we are very secure that we're going to be able to find another job, we're not going to be stressing ourselves or getting anxious about what is going to happen. Yeah, we know you're going to get it. So when we start searching for belief systems, we need to also realize that most of them they were built and they were stored in our mind when we were very, very little. Usually in the first 6 to 8 years of our life, your subconscious is very active. Absolutely like a little sponge. I don't know if you will have had the experience probably that you want to learn something and it's so difficult for you, but you see the children learning so fast. It's because of that. They are almost in a hypnotic state. Everything is absorbed. And in those years, we start absorbing those negative and positive messages that are going to be the foundations of our personality and how we're going to move in life. Now, knowing that, you may think, now I'm 50 years old, I'm 40, and I'm struggling, and it's because I'm not able to do things. It's usually because your decisions are not taken by the 50 years old or the 40 years old or the 30 years old. It's really based on those childhood belief systems that then they have been reinforced over the years with your experiences. This was very widely documented in a documentary that was done by the BBC. They invited some scientists to analyze how many of our decisions were taken at a conscious level and how many are subconscious. And unfortunately, shocking as it is, 90% was subconscious. So we have a problem here. If you are having anxiety and some of these beliefs are so integrated in your mind, and some of them are subconscious, how are you going to be able to reach that? Well, we need to start really analyzing all those belief systems and realize that there is one more thing that could be stopping us. We try very hard to overcome limiting beliefs using a lot of talking therapy, a lot of stress management techniques, and really focusing on affirmations that are fantastic. They are really good. However, if you have tried that, you will also notice that sometimes it's difficult to maintain it, and sometimes your willpower runs out, and it tends to happen. And that's because you have an internal fight between what you are trying to say and want and what is installed already within you and your mind. So, for example, imagine that your amygdala gets activated, you have a panic attack, this subconscious belief, and you're trying to calm yourself and not having a panic attack, just by consciously wanting to calm yourself. If you have been suffering a panic attack, you were thinking, oh, Maria, I know that was awful. It's impossible. It's very hard. And we're still trying to do that. Why is hard? Because your amygdala reacts in a tenth of a second. And what you're using to convince yourself that you are okay, you're safe, is your cortex that is very slow. It's almost like trying to catch a greyhound being a snail. Yeah. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to be able to overcome. We need to use other techniques that connect with your subconscious. And like that, we can unlock things. Yeah. Nevertheless, this doesn't mean that if you have not learned these techniques or you don't have access to an expert that use them to be able to help you, you cannot help yourself. So what I'm going to do now is to suggest a couple of exercises that are going to be giving you some control and awareness. Awareness is very important, because if you are aware of what is running in your life, then you are more prompt to act and look for a solution. But when we are not aware, we are victims of the circumstances. So let's go for that. If you want to take paper, let's see how we can do this. I suggest that for a week, you start writing every single negative thought you have. Write it down. And then you can do it daily or weekly. You're going to start looking at where this programming came from. What is it that I believe that I'm, supporting this thought? Who mentioned this? Maybe it was, I don't know, someone may say, oh, I'm not clever enough to improve professionally. And you may think, oh, actually, my mom used to say I was not very clever. I was my brothers or my sisters were more clever than me. And then you can start questioning, is this true? Maybe you are a very successful woman, but you still believe in that, and you're still limiting yourself, fearful of taking the next step. When you do that, you will notice how much have you been accumulated that actually is not true and you don't need. Then make another column. Let's start looking at your self-speech. What are you saying to yourself? Is it reflecting what your mom or your dad used to say, or a teacher? Yeah. And then make sure you realize that if you're trying to convince yourself that you're right saying those things, probably it's because sometimes there's another fear behind that. So that's the exercise you can do. One further exercise that will help you a lot, and I know it's a lot of thinking and a lot to process, but it will give you that oomph of wanting to improve in your life. This exercise is to define the journey of your life. We have gone to school, we have gone to university, we've done so many things, but nobody taught us how to actually define our life. Our biggest journey that is life, and we don't know. However, you decide to, go to Seven Oaks or London, Oxford or New York, and especially if it's a big journey and it's an important journey, you're going to be planning the journey. You're going to know where you're going to stop, where you're going to take your plane, or what you're going to be driving to, that your tires are fine, where are you going to stop and rest, how much it's going to cost you to, and how you're going to get there. And at the end, you're going to know how it looks, that New York. Very much like Sarah was saying with the colors, you're going to know how you're going to look with that color, how you're going to feel. This is the same. You will know and you have an idea. However, with our life, we don't do that. Nobody teaches us that we need to have an idea of where we want to reach and then be able to change it and make it happen. So I suggest you to start writing that. How do you want your finance to be? Your profession, your education, your relationships, your holidays, your hobbies. And then compare the two exercises. You will realize that some of those belief systems that you have been holding are the things that have been stopping you from progressing. So once you do that, reach for help. Like I said, consciously trying to change these things can definitely happen, but it can take a long time. And approaching that challenges the same as panic attacks, from a different perspective, can create very quick solutions. Sometimes within an hour, you can change completely that. And that makes you break free and feel better and succeed. Because if you're not fearful now of socializing, or you have agoraphobia, or you have a very small job when you should be having a much bigger role, you remove that fear, you remove that anxiety, and then you are able to reach for whatever you want. That's why when I work with my clients, all the work I do is really using lots of subconscious techniques. If you visit my website, hypnosisouthlondon.co.uk, or you find me in Bark, UK, and you will find lots of testimonials of people that tell you exactly that. It's about taking control in a different way so that you can succeed. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I hope it has helped you. And of course, if you have any questions, do not have to reach out. It'd be lovely to answer. Absolutely.
Well done, Maria. Well done. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
I love how you define the different stress, anxiety, how it keeps building up. What stress is, it's normal. And then when it starts to get out of control, like the evolution. I think that was great that people understand what those differences are in those terms.
I think it's important because people sometimes get very confused. And they say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if I have stress, if I have anxiety, if I have depression. Sometimes they have all of it. And they don't know how it has progressed and how all of a sudden they ended up having this massive depression. So sometimes it's just what we need to work is on that, removing that anxiety, and depression just lifts up because you can do the things you want to make you feel good.
And I want to let our audience know, I'm not going to give any secrets, but if anybody knows about anxiety, it's Maria. She has lived through some incredible times recently, and she's got a lot to celebrate about. So she knows what she's talking about. So, by the way, we don't have your website on the banner. I would love to add that. So give me one moment.
Yeah.
And while I'm doing that, Sarah, would you go ahead and just comment on what you thought of the presentation?
I, like Jacalyn said, in defining at the beginning, I thought was really interesting. And obviously, I've done my NLP. So a lot of what you would, was really, I could understand what you were saying. But no, and the way you put it across, your voice, I love listening to her.
No, I love her voice.
Thank you very much.
But no, it's funny because I had a client that wouldn't wear trousers. She was about 70, and she was absolutely no. I think I've mentioned this before, Jacalyn. And when I asked her why, she said because my father told me I had a big bottom when I was a little girl.
Absolutely.
So we did a bit of timeline on her. Took her back to when she was a child and backwards and forwards. She had tears, but for me they were really good tears. And then I spoke to her about a month later. Loved all the clothes she bought. But my main question was, do you wear trousers? She said all the time. So I know. And I just think it's amazing. But it is getting into that subconscious and how you get into the conscious. We know because it's there. But that subconscious is the hardest thing to get into.
And it can be very easy and it can be very quick. It's just to know how to do it and to reach out. And I think there's a lot of confusion. People, first of all, have this concept that anything that is subconscious or clinical hypnotherapy can either it's a joke, it doesn't work, or otherwise is something very dangerous and scary. When they don't realize that everybody is living a hypnotic state every single day on a constant basis, but they are in and out of it and they are unaware of that. And like you said, there are lots of talking therapy that is fantastic and is really good because sometimes we just need to be heard and nothing else, and we just need someone to guide us and show us a tiny bit of how our life is and where it comes from. And other times when we need is unrooted and remove these emotions so that you are able to move forward without having that burden, without feeling that emotion, reprocessing it. And people do not have a clear idea of the differences and how they can achieve that. And that is, I think, the real challenge. I think if we know that you can achieve that and remove the emotional state that comes from it, it will help. And that's like what Jacalyn was saying. I think, Jacalyn knows very well what's been happening in our family. It's been the perfect storm: pandemic, house destroyed by water, our daughter getting really, really sick, and my mom passing away. And I think many times, of course, I have my tears, because let's be honest, we talk a lot in television and Facebook, thinking that, we all come in here and say, oh, everything is wonderful. And it's not true. We are human, and we have to go through the pain and the cries and the tears. And I think it's a false image that we shouldn't be giving. It's not a helpful one. So, Dr. Jacalyn knows that I've been crying. My God, I have been crying, absolutely. But I think the fact that I am a therapist and I have been able to implement some of my techniques help me to maintain that and to come out quickly, because otherwise it's very easy to go downhill. But then we do know as well that we have great celebrations. Today, my daughter was able to show us that she was giving the first steps after being 9 months in a wheelchair and without even a walker. That's happened in a week. So, my God, Natalie, if you're watching, we're very proud of you.
Yay, Natalie!
Amazing. It's amazing. So that teaches, that even in the worst of these times, good things happen afterwards.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 24. My daughter's 24, and she developed something called functional neurological disorder. There's 800,000 people in the UK that have developed this. Unfortunately, there's very little help. We were one of the lucky ones, and that's why she has recovered. Sorry, Sarah, repeat again.
Hello?
It cut off.
I can't hear you. What was it called?
It's called functional neurological disorder. It's a rare disorder that is very detrimental for people. They can get paralyzed, blind. They have tremor, seizures. It's absolutely horrendous. And now, knowing what's happened, we know as well that people can get better just with the right therapy and the right help. So Wilmere Hospital, my goodness, amazing job, and something that has to be spread all around the UK and the world, because this happens in the USA and in many other countries, and all the sufferers have the same problem, exactly the same, the lack of resources to help them.
Well, thank God for Natalie pushing through, and for all the people who are supporting her every day.
Amazing.
We're so happy for you, all of you, for you, Graham, for Natalie. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
We'll have to have Natalie on the show when she wants to come on.
We'll have to do that. She will be a great ambassador for FND, I think.
Yes, I think so as well. Well, this has been a wonderful show, and I just love the symmetry and the connections, the collaborations that I can see coming from this. So thank you, Maria, and thank you, Sarah, for being here. Maria, what is your website again, please?
Yes, it's hypnosisouthlondon.co.uk.
Hypnosis?
South London.co.uk.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to spotlight each of you. Hopefully I spelled hypnosis right. And Maria, I'm just going to spotlight you. I'm going to show your banner. Who should reach out to you? And did I spell it right? Hypnosis.
It's absolutely fine.
Yes.
Anyone that is suffering with anxiety, especially panic attacks are so awful, and they can be stopped usually within 1 or 2 hours of work. Anyone that find themselves confined to and feeling trapped, that can be broken very quickly. So feel free to reach out, even if it's to get some information or free resources that can help you to start moving forward. Don't be shy. I know sometimes it's scary, but once you knock on the door, things can get better.
And Marie, it's confidential, right? People don't have to worry if they reach out.
Sorry, repeat again, Dr. Jacalyn?
It's confidential. If someone reaches out to you, it's confidential, right?
Absolutely. Everything you share is confidential. It stays between you and me, of course. Obviously, confidentiality, as always, if there is a risk, we manage it together, yeah? But people can feel comfortable. They don't need to. And By the way, we laugh a lot as well. In my therapy sessions, we cannot be only just being serious. We always have a lot of laughter. I think every client say that. Life is about that, about a mixture, and we need to have a good time, even in the worst of the scenarios.
I love that perspective. Thank you. Sarah, I'm going to spotlight you and run your banner. What is the best way for people to reach you, and who should reach out to you?
I think it's ladies. I mean, most of my clients are ladies. I have worked with a professor before, but they're usually people like 45 plus going through midlife, empty nest syndrome, going through that midlife crisis, wanting a change, going through the menopause. So it's more that sort of age group than the younger ones, although I have worked with younger ones. But yes, it is those. And when I do the retreats, that's when the magic happens, is when you really get to know people, and everything is completely confidential when they come here, because the things people tell me are amazing. And I feel privileged that they feel that they can tell me these things. So yes.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mainly who I work with.
It's fantastic. Thank you both. This has been such a great show. I love this. We haven't had an anxiety expert or an image consultant on before, so it was great. And the fact that you're both here, I hope you'll come back again. And Maria, we are celebrating for you, and Natalie and Graham, we are so happy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And Sarah, thank your company for being so lovely and letting us have you all to ourselves for the last hour.
That's fine. My children are out there because I've got a few. I can't have a bit of a house full at the moment. And I've got a lodger. I've got someone coming.
Well, fantastic. You enjoy yourself, and thank you again. Oh, I'm sorry. You cut out for a second. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, Maria.
Bye-bye, Sarah. I hope we can meet. We'll have a coffee, yeah? Here in the UK. Yeah. We may need to go to see Dr. Jacalyn to the USA.
Absolutely. That's the gentleman.
All right. That sounds great. Bye. See you both later.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Wow, what great information we got today from Maria and Sarah. I am just so excited, and I'm really happy for Maria and her family. Thank you again for being here. I just want to highlight a couple of things for today. So I started this yesterday. It's kind of a new thing. I was a little afraid to do it, but I got out of my comfort zone. At the end of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday's broadcasts, which are typically around 6 p.m. Eastern time, which is 11 p.m. British Summer Time, I am going to do an 8-minute live event that is just me, and it's me as the listening mentor. So you know me as a TV and radio show host, a producer, a director, and broadcaster. But what you might not know is I am a certified life and career coach. I'm also a certified meditation coach and a certified yoga instructor. And for many years of my career, 30 years of my career, I was always well known as a great listener. My dad was a great listener. So I've taken a lot of pride in studying and researching and being able to listen to people. And I have to say that listening is truly an art, and it's a skill, and there is a power to listening. So every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be leading an 8-minute live session where I drop little gems of information about listening. Yesterday, we looked at how men listen, and today we're going to look at how women listen. So if you're not able to join on the live, please go to our YouTube channel. Go there anyway, USA Global TV, and you can go to the playlist Listening Mentor, and you can catch all of the information there. I also will be going over at 6:15 Eastern Time, which is 11:15 British Summer Time, over to Instagram and doing a live there. However, for Instagram, I don't have my background. I just have the green screen and me, but I'll be giving some of the same information for our friends on Instagram who are not able to be here on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Twitch. And finally, a little bit of a selfish plug as I follow up on listening. Today and tomorrow are the last days to get in on the early bird special of $30 to join my online seminar, The Power of Listening. This is 90 minutes of power learning with me. And how do you get involved? All you have to do is go over to my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Jacalyn, and you can just go to the link in my bio on Instagram. There's the banner to attend the Power of Listening seminar. We have 3 options. So what can you expect? You can expect to learn ways to listen better in business as well as in your personal life. And I guarantee you, when you are finished with the seminar, you will be thinking back to yourself, oh, now I remember a certain thing that happened to me and it didn't go the way I thought, or I wasn't being received the way I thought I would be. And now I understand it was because I wasn't actually listening. There's a big difference between hearing and listening. So I hope you'll join me. I'm going to have a seminar every month, and I'm going to look at my network and have phenomenal coaches join me starting in October. This month, it'll just be me, and I have 3 options. So again, $30. You can afford $30 for 90 minutes when you think of the value you will get. And I'm trying to make it reasonably priced so that everybody can take advantage of it. Okay, thank you so much. We are coming back shortly with It's All About Dating. And I will see you then at 4 o'clock Eastern time, which is 9 p.m. British Summer Time. Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you to you for watching. We'll see you again. Bye.